Howdy y'all, thank you for joining us today for this playthrough of Marvel Champions the card game, the Hero Pack Phoenix. This is where I like to take the Hero Pack. Oh, I realized I didn't sleeve it up, so I'll cut it out. I'll sleeve it up and just cut out me sleeving it up. But I like to take this, sleeve it up, and play with it unchanged and see how it does, normally against Rhino. In this case, since it's the X-Men and we want to stay with flavor, what I'm doing is I'm taking the X-Men decks that all came out together and I'm putting them against a much harder foe, Sabretooth. And then with Sabretooth, I'm also mixing in the side stuff that they kind of mention on the back of his first starting scheme, which is the Brotherhood and Mystique. So, as you can see here, I went with the contents and did here, and I even did just Brotherhood and Mystique, which it says here. Normally you can do 2 modular sets, and it has the standard set in there also. So we have, like I said, Mystique, we got the Brotherhood, we have the Sabretooth cards, we have the standard cards, and then now we also got to put in the obligation, which comes from the Phoenix deck. So, as I'm sleeving up here, I'll kind of just talk about it. Right here with the scheme, we do the Find the Senator and scheme into play, side scheme. So we put the Find the Senator side scheme into play. And what that one does is Robert Kelly cannot be healed by player card effects. It cannot have upgrades attached. So they're talking about the Robert Kelly card here. And I know these are damage counters, but I'm going to go ahead and just put them on there. I like to just have it. I know I say it every video, but it's because I want people to not be confused. I like to have counters on there to know how many hit points they have. Maybe I'll eventually get some hit point counters, but then I don't have to say that every time. But, yeah, so it says the first player, Robert Kelly cannot be healed by player card effects and cannot have upgrades attached. So it's just saying that I cannot use cards to heal him, and I cannot have upgrades attached to him or anything attached to him to do anything. All right. When this scheme, this side scheme, so what a side scheme is, if you're new to this, is he's going to have a main scheme he's trying to pull off, but the side schemes are going to make the game more difficult. And what they're going to do is going to add a number of threat that says here. So it says 5 threat per player. So since we're soloing this, it gets 5 threat put on here. And then it says that when this side scheme gets defeated, so I remove this threat from the side scheme, the first player detaches Robert Kelly from the scheme and takes control of him. So I'll take control of him. I'll advance the main scheme to A, which is that one there underneath this main scheme, and then flip this card and place it next to the main scheme. Also, it has this symbol there. So we're putting this into play like the main scheme told us to do on the setup still. And what that symbol is that is called the crisis symbol. So normally, threat will be put on the main scheme here, and we can try to thwart to remove said threat. What that crisis symbol says is we cannot remove threat from the main scheme as long as this symbol is in place. So we need to get rid of this if we want to be able to remove threat from the main scheme. All right. So we did all that part. We attached Robert Kelly to it. While attached to Find the Senator, Robert Kelly is in play, but under no player's control. So just letting us know he's in play, but he's under no player's control. We flip this over, and this starts his main scheme. It just says here he has a forced response star, which is going to happen during step 1 of the villain's phase, each phase, during the acceleration. And we'll go over all that when that happens. This says how much threat begins on this, so 0. And then it also says here, while Robert Kelly is attached to find the senator. So while he's attached to that, treat his text box as if it were blank. So it's like this has no wording in there. And then it lets us know that if Robert Kelly leaves play, the players lose the game. All right, that's putting that into play, and that is the setup for the bad guy. So next, we go over to us, and we are doing we put Jean Grey in alter ego form into play. It lets us know our starting hand size is 6, and we need to go to our hit points of 9. All right. And then lets us know the setup is to put this into play. Restrained side face up. Place 4 power counters on it. Now we don't do any of that till after we draw up to our hand size of 6. So while I'm continuing to sleeve these up, I'll go ahead and get into the talk that I normally do while I'm shuffling, and I'll just cut out all the shuffling. So what's going to happen here is I'm going to talk through this kind of as a play and teach as I go. That way, if somebody's watching this video for their first time, they can at least kind of follow along and understand what is going on. And I'm only really going to hardcore teach during the first round. After that, I will only teach stuff that is basically new, that is introduced as that, into the game that we haven't seen in that first round. So what we are trying to do is we have to knock out Sabretooth before he pulls off his main scheme. In order to knock him out, there's going to be 2 stages of Sabretooth. Stage 1 and 2 is what we're playing with. And during stage 1, he's going to get 13 hit points per player. And when we knock that out, he's going to go to a stage 2 where he'll get 15 hit points per player. So we got to knock him out twice before he pulls off his main scheme, which in this case is make Robert Kelly lead play. Because what's going to be happening during the stage 1 is normally he's adding threat here and it lets him pull off his main scheme. But this main scheme is he is stalking the senator. He's going to, during that stage 1, that step 1, do damage to Robert Kelly. If he does enough damage to remove all of his hit points, then Robert Kelly gets knocked out and he pulls off his main scheme. Sabretooth also wins if he manages to knock out all the heroes, which in this case, since we're playing solo, means he just has to knock out Phoenix from her 9 hit points. Sorry, I cut out all the me shuffling and getting this because I shuffle each deck about 100 times. And give it a few more shuffles there. All right. That deck should be ready to go. If I can get it in the tray. There we go. All right. And then I already shuffled this quite a bit. So we're going to give it a few shuffles. Then we draw to our hand size of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now, beginning the game, you get what's called a mulligan. You can basically choose to discard any number of cards from your hand and then draw back up to your max hand size. I'm going to choose not to take a mulligan because I kind of like my hand, even though I don't think I'm going to be able to do much with it. Actually, no. I am going to mulligan. So I'm going to discard these 2 cards and draw. Now I draw up to my hand size. I have 4 still, so I draw 2 more to equal the 6. All right. Last thing you do is you do your setup. I already kind of have it here. I just haven't finished it out. You do any setup for your character, which it says here, put your Phoenix Force upgrade into play. Restrained side face up. Place 4 power counters on it. So we're going to put 4 power counters on this. And it says here, it is an upgrade, which means it attaches to someone, which is going to be her. Permanent. You gain the restrained trait. Forced response after the last power counters are moved from here, flip this card. So we'll put these counters on there. And I'm just going to cover that up because then we'll be able to read it whenever all the counters are removed, which is going to force us to flip it. After that, we are done and ready and set up. The first part, now it's going to be there's going to be a first player who's going to receive this token, but since we're playing solo, we're the only player. And then the hero phase begins, starting with the first player. That player then goes with basically taking actions. One of the actions you can do during your turn is, or one of the things you can do during your turn is, you can play cards from your hand. The cost of playing a card from your hand is on the top left of every card that you can play. So in this case, it's saying you have to spend a number of resources. Like in this one, it's saying you have to spend 2 resources in order to play this card from your hand. In order to spend resources, during that resource step, you discard cards, and you'll notice at the bottom of each card is a resource. And when you discard that card, that gives you the resources to spend towards that card. And you can notice that some cards are resource cards, and they provide more symbols, so more resources. So in this case, I want to play this card from hand. It costs me 2. I'm going to pay this resource, which pays the 2, by discarding it into my discard pile. Now that I've paid that 2, I get to put this into play. It is a 2-cost support. So a support is like an upgrade, except it's just something that's off to the side. Like it's going to be a building or somebody who's a support thing to help you. And this one is White Hot Room. It is a location. It's an alter ego action. So as an alter ego, if I'm in alter ego form, which I am, as an action, I can exhaust this card, exhaust White Hot Room, and choose. Either place 1 counter on the Phoenix Force or heal 2 damage from Jean Grey. So this comes into play. And that's all it takes to play a card. Another thing you can do during your turn is an action from some card that is out here. In this case, we have this action card here now. It says it is an action, but I have to be in alter ego form. I am in alter ego form. So since I'm in alter ego form, as an action, I can exhaust White Hot Room, and then I choose to do one of those, which I'm going to choose to place 1 power counter on Phoenix Force. So I exhaust it and place another counter on the Phoenix Force. Another thing you can do on your turn is once per hero phase or turn, you can flip your identity to another form, going from alter ego to hero or vice versa. So in this case, I am going to flip my alter ego to hero form. And you can see how now the basic abilities, which we'll get back to that, change. And the abilities I have along with traits change. Another change that happens is, remember my max hand size was 6. Now my max hand size is 5. But that is one thing you can do for your turn. Next, I want to bring this ally into play. It costs 3. So I'm going to pay 1, 2. Kind of want to keep this, but 1, 2. But I still need a third one. Well, if you'll notice, I'm in the resource area right now of spending resources. My new ability is the Sonic Bond. If I'm in hero form as resource, I'm spending resources, I can remove 1 power counter from the Phoenix Force to generate a wild resource. So I'm going to remove 1 counter from the Phoenix Force, and that gives me my 3rd resource, which brings Cyclops into play here. Now, when I brought Cyclops into play, an ally is someone who's going to be out here helping you out. Notice they have the same basic abilities as us. There is some differences, and you can notice these stars, and we'll get to those in a second because I'm about to activate Phoenix. Normally, I would have done that already and then gone to this. I had already started doing this, so we're just going to go through with it, and we'll come back to this. All right, but Cyclops also has a response here that says, after Cyclops enters play, place 2 power counters on the Phoenix Force. As a forced interrupt, when Cyclops leaves play, remove 2 power counters from the Phoenix Force. So, we get to put 2 more counters back on the Phoenix Force. Because she's becoming more restrained because of her love for Cyclops. Another thing you could do on your turn is called a basic ability. If you want to, I can exhaust Phoenix to activate one of these basic abilities. The first one is thwart. If I want, I can exhaust Phoenix and I can thwart a scheme for this number of threat. What that means is I can exhaust Phoenix and thwart a scheme. So I would choose a scheme. In this case, it would have to be this one, not only because of the crisis one, because it's also the only one with threat on it, but mostly because of the crisis thing. I can't target this one anyways. But thwarting a scheme would mean remove a number of threat equal to what that number is. So, in this case, if I exhausted her to thwart a scheme, I would remove 3 threat from the scheme. Or, I can exhaust Phoenix and attack a minion or villain for 1 damage. Or, I can, when I have an attack coming in, Phoenix can exhaust, and I can defend for this number and reduce that damage down that coming in by that number. I'm going to show this other side, which I can't do because I'm not in alter ego form, but just so that you know, I can also, if I'm in alter ego form, exhaust Phoenix, and I can recover this number of hit points equal to this number up to my max, which I'm at the max, and I'm not in alter ego, so I can't do it anyways. And in this case, she also has a response ability that says, after you make a basic recovery, so if I were doing that, I can place 1 power counter on the Phoenix Force. So pretty cool. Well, right now, I'm going to activate one of those abilities. I'm going to exhaust Phoenix, and I'm going to thwart a scheme for 3 threat. So I'm going to remove 3 threat from the Find the Senator scheme, putting it at 2. Next, I'm going to choose to exhaust Cyclops to thwart the scheme also. So he's going to thwart the same scheme for 2 threat, which is enough to remove the threat from Find the Senator. Alright, so now that we did that, it says, and there's something else I need to take care of, I just got to make sure I don't forget it, but let's do all this stuff. When defeated, the first player detaches Robert Kelly from this scheme and takes control of him. Advance to main. Alright, so I detach the Robert Kelly from here and take control of it. And I just put these on here so I don't forget a step here. Alright, so I have control of Robert Kelly. Advance the main scheme 2A. So it's saying get rid of this and advance to the main scheme 2A, which is the injured Senator. Sabretooth has wounded Senator Kelly and continues to hound him. When revealed, deal each player a face-down encounter card. So we each get dealt an encounter card that we're going to have to deal with during the encounter step of the villain phase. And then now we flip this over. And it says, the injured Senator, get Robert Kelly to safety before Sabretooth finishes the job. When completed, defeat Robert Kelly. So the way he completes this main scheme is if he gets a number of threat equal to here on this card, then he gets to complete it, which is defeat Robert Kelly. Well, what does that do? If Robert Kelly leaves play, the player loses the game. So that's how he's going to pull off his main schemes, if he can defeat Robert Kelly. By putting 9 threat per player on here, so 9 threat because we are in solo. Alright, now we put 2A into play, and this also starts with 0 threat on the scheme. Alright, we did all that. Flip this card and place it next to the main scheme. Alright. Robert Kelly cannot be healed by player card effects and cannot have upgrades attached. Alright. After your hero defends against an attack from Sabretooth, spend 2 resources of any type. Ready your hero. Only the player who controls Robert Kelly can trigger this ability. Yeah, it lets us basically defend and unexhaust. And the reason is because if you read Robert Kelly, because remember this text box was blank before, but now it's got a bunch of text in here, which is the first player controls Robert Kelly. He does not count against your ally limit because normally you're limited to only 3 allies. So because you're forced to take him, they're not restricting you. And cannot have player cards attached. So I cannot attach things to him. Forced to interrupt. When an enemy resolves an undefended attack against you, deal that damage to Robert Kelly. So, if Sabretooth or something attacks me and I don't defend, Robert Kelly's going to take it in the face anyway. So, that's the reason they're giving you that Protect the Senator, where you can unexhaust after you... I mean, you got to pay 2 resources, but you can unexhaust after you defend. Alright. Now that all that was triggered off of that thwart, we go back to Cyclops. And remember, I told you they got these little stars when they do stuff. Those are called consequence damage. So what that is saying is, since I thwarted with Cyclops, he has to take 1 consequence damage for doing that. So he takes 1 consequence damage after doing that action, putting him at 2 hit points. Once you have no actions you want to do or can do, you pass to the next player. In this case, we're the only players, so there's no more players. And once all the players have gone, you go to the end of the hero phase. The end of the hero phase consists of discarding any cards you want to from hand. In this case, I want to hold on to this card. So we're going to keep this card in hand. So we have 1 card in hand. And then now, I get to draw up to whatever my hand size is, which is 5 now, instead of 6, because I am in hero form. So now, since I get to draw up to a hand size of 5, I have 1 in hand, so we get to draw 4. 2, 3, 4, 5. Those get added to hand, and then once we draw up, we ready all of the cards in our play area. That's the end of the hero phase. We go to the villain phase. And the first step of the villain phase is to accelerate the scheme. We accelerate the scheme by whatever it says here, which it says +1 per player. So 1 threat gets added there. And now that we did that, and I mentioned I would look into it, but I knocked out the threat. It's a justice deck, so I kind of figured I'd be able to. What this would have done is it still would have done just what happened there, but it would have done damage to Robert Kelly if this was still in play. I only figured I'd go back to that because I said I would do it whenever we got to the first one, but we never got to the first one with that one. But in this case, we added the 1 threat. That's the first step done. So he is 1 to the 9 he needs to pulling off his main scheme. Next, the villain is going to activate. And when they activate, they're going to look and see what form each player is in, and they're going to activate starting with the first player and do whatever their form is in, what they're going to do. What that means is, basically, I'm the first player, so he's going to look and see what form I'm in. If I am in alter ego form, then Sabretooth will scheme and add more threat to his main scheme. If I am in hero form, Sabretooth will attack, and that's when I have to choose if I want to defend. So, Sabretooth is now activating. I am in hero form, so Sabretooth is going to attack. I am going to choose to defend, so that means any damage coming in is going to be reduced by 2. So now Sabretooth attacks, and he's doing 2 damage. But since he's a villain, he gets what's called a boost card. So he's going to deal himself a boost card to his boost cards. There could be more, but in this case there are none. And then after that, we reveal all the boost cards. And we're going to ignore the whole card. And we're only going to look at the bottom, which we wanted this to be one of the ones. There's some cards you want to make sure are always them. The obligation's one of them. Because since we ignore all of this card, we're only looking at the bottom, and we're looking for those little red ticks down there. Whatever activation they did gets increased by the number of those ticks. So in this case, he's attacking for 2 plus 2, so he's doing 4 damage. I defended, so that means I get to reduce the damage by 2. So 4 minus 2 means I take 2 damage. And if I wouldn't have defended, that would have went to Robert Kelly. And from what I can see, I don't see anything that says I couldn't have just had Robert Kelly block for me. Because you'll notice allies can defend if they want, but they don't have a defense, which means they would just take it in the face. Well, Robert Kelly is an ally. It just says I can't play cards on him. So if I know I'm going to take the damage, I might just have Robert Kelly just take the damage anyways. But in this case, he didn't have to. I took that damage. Now, if I want to, there are two triggers that happen. One of them optional. The other is not. It is a forced. The optional one is I can pay 2 resources if I want, since I defended, to unexhaust my character. I'm not going to do that. So then the other one is the forced response that says, after Sabretooth activates against me, I discard the top card of the encounter deck and heal damage from Sabretooth equal to the number of boost icons discarded this way. So we discard this, and it's going to add 1. Now, in this case, we're not boosting it. That's how much he's healing for. So he gets to heal for 1. Problem is, he cannot go above his max, so he's healed up to his max. After that, any minions that are engaged with the character will also activate, depending upon what the villain did. So in this case, Sabretooth attacks, so minions would attack. There are no minions. So next we go to the encounter step. In the encounter step, every player is dealt 1 encounter card added to their encounter pool of cards. Remember, I had 1 that was dealt to me when this card flipped. So now I have 2 in there. And even though that was dealt to me before this phase, we do not deal with the cards until this phase. Now we're going to have to deal with and look at and do everything these cards say on this phase. So here are the steps. So here we go. The first one is Sabretooth strikes. When revealed, deal 1 damage to Robert Kelly. I may exhaust my hero to prevent this. It's just 1 damage, so I'm just going to have Robert Kelly take the damage. Also, it said I could exhaust my hero, but I can't because my hero's already exhausted. And remember, this is kind of bad because remember, I do not ready this character or unexhaust them until the end of my hero phase. So that means when we get back to the hero phase, I'm not going to be able to do any of my basic stuff because I am exhausted. So I'm not going to be able to trigger those exhausted actions. But it also means now I can't defend against any of these encounters. Well, that was the first encounter card. Let's see what the second one is. Unrelenting Savage. When revealed, we check to see what form we're in, alter ego or hero. We are in hero form. So, Unrelenting Savage, Sabretooth attacks you. If he has no sustained damage, he gets +1 attack for this activation. He has no sustained damage because he's at full, so he's going to get +1 attack. So he's at 3 attack. I have to choose if I want to defend. I cannot defend because I am exhausted. Now, like I said, I could have Cyclops or Robert Kelly defend for me. But in this case, I would lose Cyclops because he's already doing 3 damage, so that's enough to knock out Cyclops. And since Robert Kelly's going to take the damage anyway, since I'm not defending, I'm going to choose to have Robert Kelly defend. I know it's not flavor because why would Robert Kelly defend for me? But I'm going to choose to have Robert Kelly defend for me. And that's because if there's something that exhausts, or not exhausts, but stuns or confuses, it'll go on Robert Kelly. It won't go on me. So I'm going to choose to have Robert Kelly, since he's got to take the damage anyways, go ahead and defend for me. So right now, he's taken 3 plus the boost card, which is another 3. Maybe that was bad. Oh, yeah, he's going to take the damage no matter what, but... So Robert Kelly takes 6, and before we go over there, I'm going to make sure to do this, because since Sabretooth attacked again, that's an activation, which means he's going to heal again, which he's already at max, so he's not going to heal for more, and there's nothing to really trigger off this. It's just because we are going to dig through cards of this deck, because if this deck runs out, other things happen. So we're just going to put that there so we don't forget to flip that for Sabretooth's healing. Guess I could have just flipped it now, and because it don't matter. But right now, Robert Kelly takes 6 damage. He is almost eliminated. This might be a quick one. Either that or I'm going to have to start really defending for Robert Kelly. All right. And I could just take care of this thing because it ain't going to make a difference. He heals for 1. And then now we see this other symbol. I'm just going to go on a sidetrack here. It ain't going to do anything right now, but to let you know that if this would have been a boost when he's scheming or attacking, then in that case, we would have first, in this case, not ignored these symbols. We would have looked at this or ignored this card. We would have looked and seen, because you have to do, it's called a boost ability. So when an ability's being boosted, you would go do whatever it says here. But that's only whenever he's activating and boosting. In this case, he was just healing, so he only care about this symbol, which means he heals for 1. But once again, he is at max, so he cannot heal for another 1. With that, the villain phase ends. The last part of the villain phase is actually past this first player marker to the next player. We're in solo, so we cannot do that. Or so we're not going to do that. So we're just going to go ahead and go back to the beginning of my turn. And that's the end of a round. That's all we're going to be doing. We're going to be going back and forth until we either knock out Sabretooth twice through both his stages, or he knocks out all the heroes, or pulls off his main scheme, which is knocking out Robert Kelly or adding enough thwart onto his scheme. His main scheme, which basically is going to knock out Robert Kelly. All right. With that, let's go to the beginning of my turn. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pay 3 to play this card. Oh, if I can pick them up. There's the 3 I'm going to pay. And what this is an event card. An event card means it's a one-time play. We do whatever it says, and then it's going to get discarded. So we paid the 3, an event. It is an attack. It is a sonic attack. Hero action attack. So that means it's an action I have to be in hero form in order to do. I am. And it says deals 7 damage to an enemy. If I have the Unleashed trait, this attack deals 2 additional damage and gains overkill. I do not have the Unleashed trait. I have the Restrained trait. So I just do 7 damage to an enemy. I'll choose Sabretooth. He's the only enemy in play. So he's going to take 7 damage. Taking him to 6. Next, I want to play this card. But I have no other cards in hand. But remember, I have that hero resource. So while I'm in hero form, as a resource, I can remove 1 power counter from the Phoenix Force. Remove 1 power counter from the Phoenix Force. And that allows me to generate 1 wild resource. It means I can spend it just anything. If there was something that said I needed it, but it's just a resource. There's the 1. And this is an upgrade. Now, this is one that I can attach to an X-Men ally. X-Men ally. Max 1 training upgrade per ally. Okay. Attached ally gets +1 thwart. Okay, I really don't need the thwart at the moment. But it gives him 2 more hit points. So we're going to attach this to Cyclops. And that's going to give him 2 more hit points. Next, we're going to have Cyclops exhaust and attack Sabretooth for 2. So Sabretooth takes 2. And then now Cyclops has to take 1 consequence damage for doing that. Next, we're going to switch Phoenix from her hero form to switch identities to her alter ego form. Now, she doesn't unexhaust, but I'm doing this, 1, so I can activate my white hot room, but also because now when I draw up, I'll draw up to a hand size of 6. Now that I'm in alter ego form, I can activate this white hot room, and as an action, I can exhaust it to place 1 power counter on here, or heal myself for 2. Which normally I could have done this and healed for 3, which I can only heal for 2 anyways, and got a counter. But remember, I'm exhausted. I'm not going to unexhaust till the end of my turn. So I'm going to exhaust the white hot room. And I'm going to place, or heal my 2 damage from Jean Grey. Thought about putting a counter on there, but next turn I can just do that anyway. So let's go ahead and heal her up to max. With that, I have no other actions I want to do. I have no other cards in hand. So we're going to go to discard phase. I have no cards to discard. So now we're going to draw up to our hand size of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now that we did that, we ready all of our cards. We go to the first step of the villain phase. We accelerate it by 1 threat per number of players. Next, villain is going to activate. I am in alter ego form. In this case, I have a card in my hand that says it's an interrupt. What an interrupt is it's something that's imminent. It sees imminently if they're about to do something, and you have to see what the trigger is. In this case, it says when the villain schemes. He's about to scheme. So we imminently see he's about to scheme. So we're going to play this card. It says I can only play this identity if I have the sonic trait. I have the sonic trait. So I can play this. And it doesn't say I have to be in hero form, so I can play this. So we're going to do that. Actually, that's pretty good. I did not realize that. Of course, you have to have the sonic trait, so that's kind of hard to do. So it costs 3 to do this. Going to pay my 3 there. All right, so we're interrupting his scheme, and what it says is when the villain schemes, this activation removes threat instead of placing it. So he's still going to scheme. For 1, he's going to boost that scheme. But for 1, now remember, this is the boost ability, so we still have to do this boost action. Which the boost is, first we stop, we discard 1 random card from our hand. Okay, so we're going to have to boost or discard 1 card from hand. I have 2 in hand. And we'll just roll a dice. Let me get one that's actually random here. Odd this card, even this card. Oh, that's not even on camera, so let's get that on. Well, oh, if I can get the... Oh my God. There we go. Odd, so we're discarding this card. All right. And then that was the boost ability. Now he's still scheming for the 1 plus whatever this says. So he's scheming for 2. And so we don't forget, let's put this here because he's still activating. So he's still going to get to regenerate. But remember, my card says when the villain schemes, this activation removes threat instead of placing it. So he schemed for 2. He's going to remove 2 instead of placing it. We psychically manipulated him. Okay, he activated. So now he's going to just heal for, remember, we ignore that. We only look at that when it boosts. So we ignore this. So he's only healing for 0. He heals for 0. Next, there's no minions. So now we go to the encounter phase, deal ourselves an encounter card. Do the encounter card, which is a new side scheme, which says the Brotherhood. Magneto assembled the Brotherhood of Mutants to enact his plan for mutant dominance. This side scheme comes with 3 threat on it. And then it has Hinder 2 per player. Hinder is, it says here, when revealed, place 2 threat here per player. So it's going to add 2 more threat. So it's going to have 5 threat altogether. And then each Brotherhood of Mutant minion gains Quick Strike, which Quick Strike says that when a minion comes out, they get to attack immediately. And this is a bad symbol, so we're going to want to get rid of this, because what this symbol says is, in that encounter step, when we're dealing ourselves an encounter card, we have to deal the first player an additional encounter card. Dealing with 2 encounters is not a good thing, so we will be trying to get rid of this. All right. With that, that's the end of all the encounter step, or the encounter cards. So we go back to the beginning of my turn. First thing we're going to do is we're going to activate the alter ego action White Hot Room. We're going to exhaust White Hot Room to either place a power counter on the Phoenix Force or heal for 2. We're already at max, so we're going to go ahead and place a power counter on the Phoenix Force. Next, we're going to switch our identity form to the Phoenix form and our hero form. Next, we're going to exhaust Phoenix to thwart a scheme for 3 threat. So we're going to remove 3 threat from the Brotherhood here. Now she don't have consequence stars, so I don't have to take the consequence damage for doing that. Next, I want to play the Phoenix Firebird here. I have no more cards, but remember we have that hero resource. Remove 1 power counter from the Phoenix Force to generate a wild resource. So there's my 1 resource. And now I get to play this event, which says, as a hero action, choose, remove 1 power counter from the Phoenix Force to Ready Phoenix, or place 2 power counters on the Phoenix Force. In this case, I'm going to remove the 1 counter from the Phoenix Force to Ready Phoenix. And now I'm going to activate her again to thwart a scheme for 3 threat, removing the last of that from the Brotherhood. Next, we're going to have Cyclops attack Sabretooth for 2 damage. That's getting dangerous. And because he did that, he takes a consequence damage. Good thing we put that training on him. Otherwise, that would have knocked him out. We would have lost 2 more from here. With that, I have no other actions I want to do. So we're going to go to the end of my hero phase. I have no cards to discard. We're going to draw up to our hand size of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that we drew, we ready all of our cards. First step of the villain phase, accelerate the scheme by 1 per player. Next, Sabretooth is going to activate. I am in hero form. Robert Kelly's almost dead, so I have no choice. I have to defend. Sabretooth's already doing 2 damage, plus his boost of 0, so he's doing 2. 2 minus 2 is 0, so I take no damage. I'm going to choose not to ready, so I'm not using the Protect the Senator card, but now we have to do Sabretooth's forced response of regeneration, so he heals for 2. There are no minions in play, so now we go to the encounter step, deal ourselves an encounter card. Now we have to do the encounter card, which is infiltration. Let's make sure I do this one right, because apparently I didn't do it in one of my other playthroughs. Thank you for pointing that out to me. Shuffle this card into your deck, and what I didn't do right is this card gains surge, which means we have to do another card. So I'm going to go ahead and put this down over here so I don't forget to do it right now. But right now we're going to go shuffle this into my deck. And I know I can see where it's at. I don't look while I'm shuffling. I just shuffle about 20 times while talking into the mic and do a countdown, and then that's where it's at. $14, $15, $16, $17, $18, $19, and $20. About halfway. All right, a little bit above half. All right. I should have went through the rest of that card. So what it's going to do is when that card comes out, I have to knock out an ally, which we're not going to do Robert Kelly because then we lose. But I'll have to knock out an ally or a support. So I'm going to lose something when that comes out because that's Mystique basically infiltrating and doing some stuff. But right now we have to deal with the Surge, which was another card. So, oh my goodness. And I cannot exhaust. To prevent that, I guess I should have done that, Protect the Senator, but Robert Kelly's going to take a damage. I might lose this one if another one of those cards come up or I can't defend or something. All right, well, that's the last encounter card. So Robert Kelly is down to 1 hit point. Really sucks I can't heal him. Now, I have played enough against them now to know there are cards. There's a side scheme that heals Robert Kelly if you can. I just got to hope that comes up. With that, we go to the beginning of my turn. All right, we're going to go ahead and exhaust Cyclops and have him attack Sabretooth for 2 damage. taking Sabretooth down to 2. Because he did that, he has to take his consequence damage. Next, I'm going to play this Psychic Rapport. It is a team-up event. Can only be played if Cyclops and Phoenix are in play. Cyclops and Phoenix are in play. So it costs me 2. There's my 2. It is a hero action. I am in hero form. I can ready Cyclops and Phoenix. Or I ready Cyclops and Phoenix. And then choose to either return a Cyclops card from your discard pile to your hand. I'm playing Phoenix. I'm not playing Cyclops. So can't do that. Or place 2 power counters on the Phoenix Force. I'm going to place 2 power counters on the Phoenix Force. Next, I'm going to exhaust Cyclops. Have him attack Sabretooth again for 2. That is enough to KO Sabretooth. So we knocked him out of his stage 1. He goes to his stage 2, where he gets 15 hit points per player. Other than that, his ability stays the same. He just gets toughness. Let me give him his hit points, and then we'll go through toughness here real fast. All toughness is, 15 hit points, toughness is a card that says the next time Sabretooth would take any amount of damage, doesn't matter how much it is, instead he just gets rid of the toughness. So basically, we want to try to ping him for some small damage before we do a big damage. And I'm just going to put my little toughness counter on him right there. Sometimes I forget they have toughness, so I know it covers up his hit points, but that way when I go to reach for his hit point counter, I'll see he can't take damage. Sorry if it's covering up his max, but he's at max anyways. Or his hit points, but he's at max anyways. Alright, but because we did that, Cyclops has to take a consequence damage, which is enough to KO him. And remember, he has a forced interrupt that says when Cyclops leaves play, remove 2 power counters from the Phoenix Force. So we have to remove 2 power counters from the Phoenix Force. Next, we're going to have Phoenix go ahead and attack for 1 damage. But see, that's what we want to do so we can get rid of this toughness. Because instead of taking any damage, he just absorbs, the toughness absorbs it. Next, I want to bring into play this telekinetic shield. There's one of my resources. We're going to activate that hero resource here where we remove a Phoenix counter. Or a power counter from Phoenix to pay the other one. And then, I didn't use that already this turn. No, I did not. Because it can only be used once per phase. I just want to make sure. And then, that lets me put this telekinetic shield upgrade into play, attached to a friendly character, so we're going to attach the Phoenix. At first, I misread this. I was thinking I could put it on Cyclops and he could absorb all the consequence damage, but it doesn't say that. It says, when attacked character would take damage from an enemy attack, place that damage here instead. Then if there's at least 5 damage here, discard telekinetic shield. So it's like a 5 hit point absorption. But, I mean, say there's 4 on here and then they do 5 damage. It's going to still put all 5 of that damage on here. So it's also like a toughness / shield. This is a big old telekinetic shield. Her shield she puts up. And normally I'd want to put this on Robert Kelly. But remember, it says I cannot have player cards attached. So, unfortunately, I have to put it on Phoenix. For my next action, I'm going to switch to my alter ego identity form switch. I'm going to use my alter ego action with the white hot room to exhaust it, to place a power counter on the Phoenix Force since I'm at full hit points anyways. And normally I'd put the 5 hit points here. That's the way I do it. Yeah, I'll just remember that. Yeah, I'll just remember. So it's like a 5 absorption of hit points. And actually, I'm going to put that over here so I don't forget that I have this telekinetic shield. Alright. With that, we're going to go to my end phase. I have no cards in hand, so nothing to discard. We're going to draw up to my hand size of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ready all of our cards. Sabretooth's going to accelerate the scheme by 1 per player. Next, he's going to scheme. He schemes for 2 plus 3, so he schemes for 5. Oh man, it's a little scary when you hit something that big. But there we go. 7 to his 9, so let's hope during the encounter phase we don't hit a scheme or something that makes him scheme. Thinking I should have let Jean Grey pop into her. 'Cause I think, yeah, now that Cyclops is gone, I don't know how I'm going to be doing damage, really. Yeah. Oh, well. We'll see. Hopefully draw some of her cards. I drew 1. It does a lot of damage, but we don't have a lot of ways to do damage here, so we're going to have to be... Whew. Let's see how it goes. He schemed. Now we have to do his forced response of healing for 2. He's already at max, so cannot heal anymore. And unfortunately, that was that side scheme I was hoping would come up that could heal Robert Kelly. So next, we go to our encounter phase. Now we deal with the encounter card, which is Avalanche. It is a minion. And normally what happens is a minion comes into play and they come engaged with that player and they have to deal with them. In this case, since we're solo, I like to keep all the bad guys in one area. So here we got Avalanche. He comes into play. He's got 5 hit points. 5 hit points. He's got 1 scheme, 3 attack. And he's also got, after Avalanche attacks, exhaust a character you control. Okay. But remember, this is a problem now, because if Sabretooth attacks and I defend and I don't pay the resources, then Avalanche attacks, that's undefended, which is going to be enough to knock out Robert Kelly. So that means I'm either going to start paying this too and defending, or I'm going to have to knock this guy out, which means I'm not putting damage on Sabretooth. Either way, that was the encounter card, so we go back to the beginning of my turn. Yeah, we're not going to use the White Hot Room this turn. So I need to get these counters off here, at least until I get an ally, so that I can do more damage. So we're not going to activate the White Hot Room. Feel weird saying that. I feel like I should do it, but we're not. So our first action is going to be switching our identity to our hero form. We're going to thwart the main scheme for 3. Removing 3 counters from it. We're going to play the Phoenix Firebird for 1. And it's that hero action where I get to remove a power counter from the Phoenix Forge to ready Phoenix. So we're going to remove a power counter from there to ready her. Like I said, I was just doing that so I can get these counters off of here. That might be a mistake, but I just want to get those off of there. I want to play Telepathic Trickery. There's 1, and now I'm going to activate my Sonic Bond, which is remove a power counter from the Phoenix Force to generate a wild resource. There's the paying for it. Hero action thwart, remove 4 threat from a scheme. If I have unleashed, it does more, but I do not. So removes 4 threat from the scheme, which cleans it up. After that, I might as well. I'm just going to have Phoenix attack Avalanche for 1. Impressive. After that, I want to hold these cards in hand, so we're going to go to my end phase. Keep these 2 cards in hand, which means I have 2 in hand. Draw up to my hand size of 5, so 2, 3, 4. We're going to have to take care of this. 5. So we draw these, and then when this goes to... Oh, show what I got there. When this goes to my hand, I have to, as a forced response, discard an ally or a support I control. So, White Hot Room has to go because I don't want to lose the game if I get rid of Robert Kelly. And what sucks is this bogs down my hand until I can get back to my next end phase to where I can discard it. Since we drew, we ready all of our stuff. Go to the beginning of the villain phase. He's going to accelerate the scheme by adding 1 threat per player. Next, villain activates. I am in hero form, so he's going to attack. I have to defend. Sabretooth is going to do 2 plus 2. So he's doing up. There's that other heal. That's not good. 4 damage. That's for his regeneration, so I don't forget. He does 4 minus 2. So he does 2 damage. So 2 of it goes on this telekinetic shield. And I know it's going to absorb more than that, hopefully. Alright. With that, I'm going to activate that Protect the Senator. It says after my hero defends against an attack from Sabretooth, I can spend 2 resources of any type to ready. So 2 resources. Allows me to ready my hero. And then also Sabretooth regenerates for 0. He's at full anyways. Next, Avalanche is going to activate. And since Sabretooth attacked, that means Avalanche is going to attack me. Once again, I have to defend. Otherwise, Robert Kelly's dead. So Avalanche does 3 damage, but he does not get the boost card. So he's just doing 3 damage. So 3 minus 2 is 1. He's doing 1 damage, which is absorbed by the telekinetic shield. But he also has a forced response that says, after Avalanche attacks you, exhaust a character you control. Well, it says, I control Robert Kelly, and he is a character, so I'll just exhaust Robert Kelly. After that, let's hope this isn't another attack or we're done. We go to the... It is not an attack. It is when revealed, the villain schemes. So he's going to scheme for 2. Plus 2, and this is a good one to have as a boost. So he schemes for 4. Oh my goodness, I just cleaned all that up. Yeah, I don't see myself being able to do this without an ally. We'll see if I can get flipped. I looked at that unleashed side. I still don't think it's enough. But we'll have to see. He activated, so he regenerates for 2. But he's already at max. Back to the beginning of my turn. I feel like I really don't have a choice. I wanted to hold this for Sabretooth. I just don't think I'm going to have I'm worried there's not more in there. And we're not close to a reshuffle. I mean, we're close, but not super close. So we're just going to have to... Right, unfortunately, we're going to have to use this on Avalanche. I was hoping to be able to get rid of all these. Man, just going to have 1 too many on there. Oh, well. So there's the 3, 2... Activating that ability where it lets me use 1 to pay as a resource. Because that's all I got left in my hand. It's not a resource. And we're going to do this telekinetic attack. And we're going to do it on Avalanche. I really don't want to, but can't really keep defending there. So we're just going to do the 7 damage to him, which is more than enough to KO him. Should have done that last turn. I was hoping to hold it, find a way to get rid of that, but oh well. Well, we can't really go let him scheme. So we're going to have to go to my end phase. Got to stay in this side. I'm going to discard this from hand, which means it goes to the encounter discard pile. And then we draw up to our hand size of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ready all of our cards. Man, a Drew Banshee, I just don't think I have enough to pay for him, unfortunately. Well, actually I do. And it'll unleash me. We'll see if I don't have to use this. We'll see. Let's see what happens in this. Alright. Back to the villain. He accelerates a scheme for 1. He's going to activate. I am in hero form. I have to defend. So he's doing 2. Oh, plus 2. So he's doing 4 minus the 2. So he's doing 2. And normally I would have been adding the counters on here, which would add it to 5. And it says once there's 5, discard this. Now I have to choose if I want to use the Protect the Center to unexhaust. Because While I'm thinking about that, let's go ahead and regenerate Sabretooth. Well, I'm assuming I would have to know. Yeah, I don't think I can do that yet, so we're going to keep that here. Because then if I know he's regenerating, I guess that could give me knowledge. I'm assuming I have to do to protect the senator first. I'm going to choose not to unexhaust him. And just hope it's on an attack. I think we've seen a lot of his ones that attack already. Because the problem I'm running into is I want to bring Banshee out. But not only that, I'm worried the encounter card will be Scheme. I guess I could check. Well, yeah, because there's like double. So if it turns out a Scheme, I could lose. So I want to be able to hold it for Psychic Manipulation. So I'm just going to take a chance that the encounter doesn't screw me. So we're not going to unexhaust. Now we do Sabretooth's heal, which heals for 1. He's already at full. Here's our encounter card. It's going to be Caught Off Guard. This is an attack. Oh, no, it's not. What is this? When revealed, discard an upgrade or support you control. Well, I only have 1 upgrade, but it's permanent, so it means I cannot discard it. So, if no cards are discarded this way, this card gains Surge. Yay, make my heart thump a little bit more as I do a second card. Alright, so here's the Surge, which is an attachment. Attach to Sabretooth. Sabretooth gains Stalwart. Basically means it cannot be confused or stunned, which we haven't talked about yet. I can spend those resources to make him get rid of this card. Alright. Well, I mean, that makes it one of the things I was hoping to be able to use against him. I can't use anyways. I mean, if I drew it. So, alright, well, we didn't lose the game. But, now if I can bring Banshee out, maybe I can start doing some damage. So let's go back to the beginning of my turn. We're going to go unrestrained and just hope for the best. So here we go. We're going to bring in Banshee. He costs 4. There's 3 of it. And we're going to use the other one. Removing the last counter, which has a forced response. So now I have -2 thwart. Basically my thwart and attack switch places. Now I have 1 thwart, 3 attack. And that stays that way until I have 4 or more power counters here. So we're going to be relying on my deck. But here we go. We got Banshee in play here. He's got 3 hit points. He's got 2 thwart, 2 attack. He has a response that after he thwarts, he confuses a minion. Not really cool. I'm just going to use him for damage anyways. So, bring out Banshee. Go ahead and exhaust Banshee to have him attack Sabretooth for 2 damage. Of course, he'll probably just heal it right back up, but we got to start doing something here. With that, I'm going to keep these in hand, hoping to keep Banshee up longer, and then this is going to help us when he schemes. So, keep it 2 in hand, go to my hand size. I'm pretty sure it's as soon as my deck runs out. Oh, of course, I draw another one of these, so I could have just used it. Oh, well. I should have... If I would have just counted everything in my deck, I would have known I had one coming up. But, yeah, the odds of me thinking of that. But either way, those are the cards I drew. Another ally. Storm. Alright. Because that happened, we deal ourselves an encounter card. So we're going to have to deal with 2 in that. I might lose this. We will see. Alright. With that, we drew up. We ready all of our stuff. Oh, all it is, I forgot. I was like, wait, I just drew up to 6. It's because my last action was I was going to alter ego form. Had it in brain, just didn't think it because I remembered that I could play that from my alter ego form. It doesn't have to be in hero form. So I knew that's what I was doing. I just, for some reason, my brain thought I was already in it. Sorry about that. It's when I was sitting there looking, I was like, wait, I'm going to have to defend. And I was like, wait, no, I wasn't defending. So sorry. There's no way for me to edit that and make it look weird. But yeah, that was the reason I drew up to 6. I was thinking I went to alter ego form. Because I was remembering that's what I was going to be doing with that card. Anyways, back to the top. We add a threat to the scheme. Putting him at his 7. Accelerating the scheme. Next, Sabretooth is going to scheme. We're going to do the psychic manipulation. There's my 3. So, psychic manipulation. Play on if your identity has a sonic trait. I do. Interrupt. When the villain schemes, this activation removes threat instead of placing it. So, he's scheming for 2. Here's his boost. 3. You couldn't hit something big then. So, 3. I'm just going to, it's 7. I'm removing 3. Just going to put, should be at 4. Yep. Man, you couldn't hit bigger than that. And then, no minions. He heals for 1. Deals himself an encounter card. And here's where we're probably going to lose. Let's see. First one, Shapeshifter Surprise. When revealed, shuffle this card into your deck. This card gains Surge. Alright, so I'm going to have to Surge. Just going to go ahead and put this other one on top of here. Forced response, after this card enters your hand, Mystique activates against you. Otherwise, search the encounter deck and discard pile for Mystique and Revealer. We saw her in her discard pile, so 3, 2, 1. Where is it? Ah, nice. Bottom of the deck. Alright. Well, gotta do the Surge. So the Surge is Metamorphic Mayhem. Mystique's shapeshifting makes her all manners of makes her all manner of trouble. When defeated, the player who defeated this scheme shuffles each shapeshifter card from the encounter discard pile into their deck. Well, luckily it looks like that pile's about to empty, but ugh. So this gets 3 threat on it. And what this does is, when stuff is being boosted, and I'll have to look to see if that works with Sabretooth, but when stuff's being boosted, it gets an additional boost. But I don't think, because Sabretooth's not a boost, it's just looking how many's on the card. So I'm pretty sure that does not do that. But I'll look if it comes up again, which is definitely going to come up again, so I'm going to have to look it up. But anyways, so that comes into play. And I am in alter ego form, so this card gains Surge. Which, the deck ran out. We're going to have to do this card. Because it ran out, this token comes out. So that means now during that step 1, it's going to do 2 during acceleration. And then the other, oh my goodness, really? And I don't think I have enough. Nope, I used it anyway, so it don't matter. There we go. I'm in alter ego form, so he's going to Surge. He does take a damage, so it's not +1. So it is 2. And then we got to reshuffle this. That should be enough shuffles there. Alright, so we're at 2. We got to get the boost for this. Is 0. So he schemes for 2. Just putting back on there what I just got rid of. Well, I guess 1 less. Except, now he's going to regenerate. Probably heal up to full. Yep. And I'll go look at this point. Oh, really? And you're going to put one of those in there too, so that if I finish off that... Well, I'm not going to finish that off either anyways. Oh, wait. That was a scheme. So actually, he does put an additional one on there because of this. Almost missed that. Yeah, that's only during enemy activation. Yeah, and it's only when doing a boost card turned up. Whereas Sabretooth says discard it. So I would say because of that, that's only going to be when he's activating. I mean, even though that's during when he's activating, but yeah. Okay. With that, that was all the encounters. Now let's see with my 2 cards what we can do. Well, I really don't have a choice. I was going to start building up the tokens back on this. But because he put all that threat back on there, we're going to switch back to my hero form. No matter what, I have to get rid of, as much as I want to damage him, I have to get rid of Thwart here. Because it's at 7, which means at the beginning of the step 1 during the ally or the villain phase, they're going to get 2 on here because of this acceleration. So it's going to instantly make me lose the game. So with that, we're unfortunately going to have to, well, I'm going to have to use Banshee. But what I'm going to do first, I'm going to play this card, Mission Training, using this to discard. And that's going to give Banshee the +1 thwart and +2 hit points. And then now we're going to have Banshee go ahead and thwart the main scheme, which is 2 for 3. And he has a response here that says after Banshee thwarts, confuse a minion. There's no minions in play, so he can't confuse them. Confuse just says that the next time they would scheme, they don't. But there's no minions, so it don't matter. So he's going to thwart for 3. Like I said, we have to clean this up. So I'm going to remove these 6 and put a 3 back. But he has to take the consequence damage for doing that. Yep, we're just going to hope, like I said, we're going to rely on the deck. That's what I've been saying. Rely on the deck. What do they say, heart of the cards? Here we go. We're going to attack Sabretooth for 3. Taking him to 12. That I have no cards in hand. Oh, we don't ready yet. We draw up to our hand size of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ready our cards. Go back to the top. Like I said, it's going to accelerate for 2. And then now Sabretooth's going to activate. I'm in hero form. So he's going to attack. So I'm going to have to defend as much as I don't want to. So I defend. He's doing 2, 3 damage. 3 minus 2 is 1. I'm debating if I want to protect the Senator. No. Ugh. No, let's just hope he doesn't attack again. So he's going to regenerate for 2. Then we go to the encounter phase and do the encounter, which is bring out a minion. Lovely. Just when I thought I'm just getting it a little under control, let's just make it not. Alright, well, I'm not going to complain too much because we didn't lose. So, back to the top of my turn. I am going to pay. Let's go ahead and start getting out of this Phoenix. Oh. It's not so much to get out of the Phoenix Force, I mean, if we can, but it's because I want the power counters. So, 1. The hero action event. Place 2 power counters on the Phoenix Force is what I'm doing instead of readying Phoenix. Which I couldn't anyways, I didn't have no power counters on there. Now we're going to do this telekinetic attack. Costing me, there's 2. And have to pay the other 1 from there. But there's the 3 cost. Hero action attack deals 7 damage to an enemy. If you have the Unleashed trait, this attack gains 2 additional damage, so it's really 9 damage, and gains Overkill. What Overkill means is any excess damage carries over into the villain. So, of course, I'm going to choose Avalanche, and I am Unleashed, so it is 9 damage with Overkill. So we're going to do 9 damage to Avalanche. 5 is enough to take him out. Which means 4 carries over into Sabretooth. I was hoping to do that all to Sabretooth, but a minion came out, so we had to deal with it. As much as I want to burn Sabretooth down, we're going to rely on the deck still. So we're going to go ahead and thwart the scheme with Banshee for 3. Removing 6 to put a 3 on there, which doesn't matter because we're about to remove it, put the 5 back on. But anyways, he takes a consequence damage for doing that. He confuses a minion, which I knocked out the minion, so it doesn't matter. Because I could have just done that just to confuse him and then knock him out, but whatever. Really wish I knew it was on top of my deck right now. We said we were going to rely on my deck. Think I'm just going to stay in hero form. Yes, I have no cards in hand, so we're going to draw up to my hand size of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, maybe. Depends on how this turn goes. Just got drew another one of those big attacks. So it just depends on how this goes. First, he's going to accelerate the scheme. Now Sabretooth is going to activate. Oh, when I did that earlier, I just realized I forgot when he attacked earlier, I should have taken 1 more damage because of that. And he's actually going to do that again. He's attacking. I am going to defend. I was debating on just throwing Banshee there, but we'll keep Banshee around 1 more turn. So I do defend. He's doing 2, 3, 4, 5, plus 1, 6. Minus 2, so he's doing 4 to me. Pretty sure I just clicked that 6. I can't go backwards. If not, I'm just going to do myself an extra damage. I think I did. I clicked the 6, though. I should have looked at it before. I was over here looking at something else, clicking, counting to 6, but I thought I was... Anyways. All because I forgot that. Yeah. No, I did. I clicked at 6. I remember because I was at 8, right? Oh, my goodness. Play it on the harder end, but I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to have 1 more hit point. All right. I am, just in case he attacks again, going to pay the 2 to do Protect the Senator, which allows me to ready my character, just in case I need to defend again. He also gets to regenerate for 0. And then now, minions, there are none. We go to the encounter phase, where, of course. All right, well, we hit my obligation, so let's see what all we got to do here. Let's go on over here. Let's see. Give to Jean Grey player. I always say, right when you feel like you're confident, Shadows of the Past is going to happen. If you watch my unboxing, you know that's what this is. This is basically Shadows of the Past. When revealed, if you have the Unleash trait, I have the Unleash trait, search the encounter deck, discard pile, and set aside area for the Dark Phoenix and reveal her. Well, we already know she's in the set aside area. So here's Dark Phoenix. Oh, man. Like I said, that's like a kick in the jewels. Here we go. So we reveal this. We reveal her. She is a minion with 12 hit points. She's got Steady, which we already saw. That means basically... well, no, Steady's different. That was Stalwart. Steady says they can have... It takes 2 stuns or confuses in order to do it. She starts with Toughness. Lovely. Let's just make it beautiful. And Villainous, which means she gets the boost cards. And it says, when Dark Phoenix schemes, because she's got that on there, she places that threat on Consume the World, which is going to come into play here in a second. It's another way I can lose the game. When revealed, search the encounter deck, discard pile, and set aside area for the Consume the World and reveal it. So let's go ahead and put her into play and hold back the throw up a little bit. Just when I was feeling confident. Well, maybe. Let's see what all this other stuff does. As long as this doesn't do anything, I might still be okay, but I got a feeling it does. All right, Consume the World. It's a permanent, so it ain't going away. It's going to start with 6 threat on it. Well, I got to put the sleeve on it. While there's no threat here, this scheme loses that. So it's going to boost all of his stuff again. Force response after threat is placed here. If there's at least 12 threat here, we lose the game. Lovely. How does threat go on here? Oh. So she, basically, when she schemes, she doesn't put it on the main scheme. She puts it on here. So we could lose the game if it ever puts 12 on here. All right. All that was because of the first sentence. Then remove burning hunger from the game. So this is going to go away from the game. If I have the restrain trait, which I didn't, remove 1 power counter from the Phoenix Force, and this card gains surge. Discard this card. All right, so that's all it did. This is removed from the game because it put the Dark Phoenix into play. Lovely. Well, that was the encounter. I think I win here because there's nothing that stops me from attacking Sabretooth. And I healed him, right? So make sure I didn't forget that. I did. He didn't heal for anything. So I actually think I win. It's just, whoo. All right, well, let's see. Did I win? Go back to the top of my turn. Oh, yeah. I'm more than enough. Because... Oh, yeah, she's an elite. That makes sense. I was like, just for fun, I could take control of her? I've been wanting to play this card. Basically, let you take control of a minion and they become your ally. Been nice to have this in hand whenever I kept getting Avalanche out there. But anyways, we're going to pay 3 for this telekinetic attack. Hero action, deals 7 damage to an enemy. If you have the Unleashed trait, this attack deals 12 would be nice. 2 additional damage and gains overkill. Doesn't matter, I'm going to do it against Sabretooth. So Sabretooth takes 9. Thought about just playing, seeing if I can remove her and take out Sabretooth, but no, we're just gonna play it safe and go for the win. 1. And then I can either attack with Banshee or attack with Phoenix. We'll go ahead and have Banshee here. Swing in for 2. Which is enough to knock out Sabretooth. And then the game ends instantly, so we don't have to do his consequence damage, but it doesn't matter. We win. Well, when I saw that coming up, I was like, hopefully it doesn't say something about guard or something. Which let me make sure she doesn't. No. And I'm pretty sure I'm right about steady. Steady just means it can have 2. Yeah. It can have 2. It takes 2 stuns or confuses to stop it. Well, all right. That was actually fun. I don't know what it is lately. Just seems like I hit Shadows of the Past a lot more than I usually used to. But, well, in this case, it was because of my obligation. But, yeah, no, that was cool. I do like Justice decks, though, so... But I did enjoy this one more than I did Cyclops. I just... But I think a lot of it is all those little sonic attacks. And then when you can just hit for big. And I like something a little bit more complicated, like counters and doing things and the fidgety stuff in the games. Whereas Cyclops is pretty much put this on the guy. You can do more damage, which is cool, but also felt more like an aggressive style deck, which, as y'all know, if y'all have watched my playthroughs before, I'm not a very aggressive player. But no, that was fun. It was cool. I enjoyed it. Think I did everything right. We'll find out in edit. See if I skipped anything. But yeah, that was fun. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.